Welcome back into the Georgia Vote. It is time now for our political roundtable. Today we have Democratic strategist Howard Franklin. He's worked on campaigns throughout the Southeast and now leads the consulting firm Ohio River South. And Republican strategist and pollster Mark Roundtree, also an expert on campaigns here in Georgia. He's the founder and president of Landmark Communications, based right here in Atlanta. Guys, we appreciate you both coming in this morning. Obviously, a lot happening in the world right now. Howard, you're a committed Democrat. Mark, you're a committed Republican. But I want to start here. We'll get to the politics in a minute. Just as an American, watching what happened yesterday at that rally, Howard, what went through your mind?
It was obviously surprising. You know, the temperature's been turned up on our politics for a very long time. And maybe it's a testament to the restraint that voters and rally goers and others have really been able to demonstrate for a long period of time, because this was the furthest thing from my mind. I know we've seen a lot of heated political rhetoric. We've seen a lot of tough talk from podiums and from stages, but nothing like this in quite a long time. So I was just honestly shocked. When I started to see both the text messages and the reporting, it certainly shocked me out for a Saturday.
Mark, your first reactions?
Probably like everybody else, it would have been shock and astonished and a little bit angry at how this really could have happened. How does a 20-year-old lone gunman climb a building, get to the top, carry a gun? There are witnesses saying there's a guy on the top of the building and the Secret Service does not respond in time. How does that happen? I mean, I'm a little upset as an American about that.
And we've seen elected leaders raising those questions in the kind of 12 to 24-hour period that we're in following what happened. And I think we can all be sure more questions and more answers hopefully will come from that. It is the Georgia Vote. We do have to talk about politics here. It's our job, and everyone who's watching, all of our tasks to try to make sense of how these developments fit into the political cycle here as well. Howard, President Biden's campaign has said that they are pausing all outbound communications. They're working to take down their television ads as quickly as they can. What is the conversation inside the Biden campaign right now?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we're all Americans today, Democrat and Republican. I think based on some of the statements you've already read, should cease to be the focal point of the discussion so far. Obviously, there's a lot to be done this week with the RNC's convention starting tomorrow, and I think there's a big question about exactly how yesterday's events may impact what we see from the stage for the next 4 days. So I think there's a lot of wait and see in the Biden world right now. I think there's also been a lot of calls for turning down the temperature on the rhetoric, on some of the discussion, some of the things that have been said. And I know there's a lot of, I've read and I've seen from some of the statements that folks are saying, hey, let's, this is partly because Democrats have called for really just underscored a particular risk in potentially re-electing a President Trump. I think this is rhetoric that's been going on for quite a long time. I looked it up because I had to make sure I had the dates right. But I think then candidate Trump talked about shooting a person on Fifth Avenue back in 2016 and not losing a single vote, right? So this has been going on 10 years at least now with the advent of the last couple election cycles.
And in fairness, and Mark, I think you may want to jump in here as well, but in the aftermath of what happened last night at the rally in Pennsylvania, many conservative politicians have circulated comments. I believe it was a tweet by former President Biden talking about putting a bullseye on former President Trump as this campaign moves forward. So when we talk about escalating political rhetoric, Mark, is this something that all sides share some blame for?
Yes. I mean, what Biden's exact words apparently were, time to put Trump in the bullseye, and that was said on July 8th. Those comments do cross a line, and I think that how you comport yourself in social media can affect people, and I think we all forget that at times.
How do we walk back from this place? I think there are a lot of Americans who, looking around this morning, and they were watching last night, and they have this sense of, oh my God, it keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. How do we walk back from this?
There is a sense of lawlessness in the country. There is a sense that laws are being unevenly enforced, depending on which political group is being attacked or defended. And that is important. I think the application of the law evenly would, I think, give people a lot more confidence that something like this would not be happening.
Howard, your thoughts on the road ahead?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this feels much more like a perceptual issue than one that's rooted in what's actually happening. I think there's a lot that any objective observer could say, hey, Democrats will take issue with this or Republicans will take issue with that. I think some broad-based agreement that this rhetoric isn't healthy for our politics, isn't getting us to, smart, informed, thoughtful decision-making, I think is what would have to happen. And it feels like in this moment that President Biden and President Trump might be willing to, share that pact or make a pact that might bring down the temperature on some of this rhetoric.
We got about 30 seconds. Mark, your thoughts on that? Is there a possibility where both the former president and the current president can get on the same page and at least set some ground rules moving forward?
I don't think these two would ever do that. Not related to anything along these lines. No, I don't. I think these two genuinely do not like each other. They don't wish each other this kind of ill. Neither one does, but I don't think that's going to happen.
What does that say about us as a country if we're at that point?
I think it says something has to change.
We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot more to discuss. The good news is we've got a whole nother block of the panel coming up. Stay with us. The Georgia Vote continues right after this.